Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome to our very first episode here of Elks Care, Elks Share, where we share charity stories and good services of our fellow Elks. Tonight, we have a very special guest with us tonight, one of our own Elks, Carlia Oldfather, with StandUp for Kids. But before we get started, I want to thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Welcome to all of our fellow Elks, our live streamers, and our online friends. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or on the website, welcome everybody. If you're on Facebook or on YouTube, you can actually comment in the comment section. We'll see your comments, and there'll be an opportunity for question and answers towards the end of the broadcast. So you can go ahead and queue them up if you'd like. I'll see them here, and then we will read them off once we get into the broadcast. So welcome everyone. Say hi. Let us know where you're watching from. And before we get started, welcome to this episode of Elks Care, Elks Share. All right, let's get going. First, I want to bring on our exalted ruler, Greg Morgan. Greg, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Rick. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm pretty excited about this. This is our first episode here. A few weeks ago, you and I had a conversation, and there's Tucker in the background. Hey, Tucker, how you doing?
Hi, Tucker. Yeah, I'm glad he's walking back there. Yeah.
Yeah. We had a conversation. I think this was close towards the end of or actually towards the beginning when we first closed. I think the last time we were in the lodge was what, March 10th, something like that.
March 15th was installation. That was our last time. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, last time, and we were tossing around ideas how we could stay engaged with the membership, and we threw out, I think it was your idea, in fact, I think, how can we remain in communication with the membership now that everybody's sitting in front of their computers. And so here we are, this first episode, and this is awesome.
This is good. Actually, our first one was actually your idea of doing the video of just letting people know that we're still Elk strong, and that we wanted to send the message out that nobody's forgotten. And when we open up, it's going to be quite the reunion for the rest of our fraternal brothers and sisters.
Yeah. I have a question for you, but before we get to that, I just wanted to welcome everyone who's online so far. We have Kim Maestri, we have Nina, Tanisha. I see Stuart out there, Judy Buckley. Let's see who else we see. Oh, Jenny and Russell, Judy, Sandy, and whoever else. Welcome. So before we bring on our guest, I know everyone's been kind of dying to hear what the latest is as far as the lodge reopening. I know it's a ways off, but can you give us a little insight on what the status is there?
Honestly, I wish I knew. It ultimately comes down to our governor of when he'll allow us. I don't know if we're in stage 2 anymore or stage 4 of the plan to reopening. So it just we just have to kind of wait and see. I don't foresee it opening up this month, but hopefully, who knows, if the numbers keep flattening, maybe we can convince our governor that it would be okay to open up our doors.
That's awesome. I guess we just kind of have to go with the flow, stay safe. But in the meantime, we're going to do this. The plan is to do this every Tuesday at the same time we would be in the lodge meeting and showcase or interview one of our own Elks who has an incredible story to share. And whether it's charity or community services, that type of thing, that's really what we'd like to do. If you guys out there in the internet world that's watching have any suggestions or would like to be part of this this broadcast, just drop us a line, and we'll see what comes of it. So with that, I am really excited. I know when I asked you who were potential guests were going to be on this Elks Share live stream, I think that one of the first names that came up was Carlia Oldfather. And tell me a little bit about what you know about her, because there's a lot of people out there who don't know other Elks, and this is a way to kind of share that information.
Well, I remember the night that Carlia was initiated, and right away she wanted to step up and ask what she could do for our lodge, and right away she got into the Americanism committee, and from there she's been on the Fourth Sunday Breakfast crew, which is for the past 9 years has been my crew, and along with her 2 daughters have been side by side and cooking and feeding, doing roughly 150 to 165 breakfasts, which for a 12-year-old, that's Sophia, who's flipping omelets like a champ. I actually affectionately call her Little Chef, and place my orders for the omelet side. That's where I first met her. She has done quite a bit, and I didn't really know what her involvement in Stand Up for Kids. The Elks Lodge did give them a grant, and that was when I started taking a little more notice of what actually Stand Up for Kids actually, what they do. So that's my history with Carlia.
Yeah, I remember when she got initiated too. It was shortly after. Oh boy, were we in our previous chairs when she got initiated? I can't remember.
I was leading night at the time. I do remember that.
Yeah.
You were a squire. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. I do remember her initiation class. So you're right. She has a great heart, and I'm really looking forward to hearing her story. So with that, why don't we bring Carlia on and give her a big Elk welcome. Hey, Carlia.
Hi. How are you? Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, very good. Thank you for being here. This is awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I know Greg and I are both very excited to have you on and kind of share your story and hear a lot of what you do for the community and how you help those in need, specifically the kids in the community. So, Greg, if you want to take over, let me know. I'll just be the color commentary in the background, but we'll just start up a discussion. And anybody online there, if you do have any questions, go ahead and drop it in the comment box. We will try and answer as many of them as we can towards the end of the broadcast, but go ahead and queue them up as we progress. So with that, I'll let you two guys go at it.
Well, good to have you with us, Carlia. Like myself, I didn't really know what Stand Up for Kids was until you explained it to me. So for the rest of us that are not aware of the organization, can you tell us a little bit more about Stand Up for Kids?
Absolutely. Stand Up for Kids, we're a national nonprofit serving homeless and at-risk youth between the ages of 12 and 24. We, at a national level, we have 18 chapters throughout the nation, and we were founded back in 1990 right here in California in San Diego. Our chapter here in Orange County was launched on 2003. And it started as a simple going out and finding youth in the community that need help who are on the streets. And from three volunteers, we are as big as 60 volunteers plus and 6 staff.
How is the Stand Up Kids? How is it being funded right now?
So right now we receive funding from different cities throughout the county. We also get private donations or foundations. We go out for grants from different foundations and so forth and so on. Now, something that is very important to remember is that although we are part of a national organization, we every single chapter is responsible to raising their own. Okay, so let's say somebody wants to start a chapter in, I don't know, in Washington. So that person has to fundraise themselves, right? So that way, everything that's raised within Orange County for the Orange County chapter stays in Orange County. So it directly impacts our youth in our community.
Well, that's good to know. Knowing that, I know the Elks will obviously get more involved in and setting up some grants for Stand Up for Kids, and knowing that it stays local, and that's kind of the big thing about the Elks. There was one I was talking to you one time on the phone, and you were telling me that a lot of the kids at Saddleback. Well, I don't know about the lot part. I just remember you said that quite a few students that go to Saddleback, I mean, they are actually just living in their cars. Can you expand on that?
Absolutely. So you're nailing right now the need, right, in our community. So it's a little bit more than just college students. So in Orange County and across the country, the youth homelessness problem can be difficult to quantify. In the nation, the number of homeless is between 1.3 and 1.7 million people. In Orange County, that number is as low as 6,860. But we estimate that there are over 31,000 homeless McKinney-Vento youth between the ages of 12 and 24 right here in our community. Now, where this has come from, right? So like you said, you specifically said college students. There was a study that was done by UC Irvine and CSU Fullerton, Cal State Fullerton, and they stated that there is an approximate amount of 13,725 college students who are homeless or housing insecure. So let that sink in. So now, mind you, we have two UCs, right? And we have 9 community colleges in the county. And so that is too many youth that are struggling and are trying to just thrive and survive. And when we talk about college homeless students, these are kids that are just trying to do it. They have a path, they have a passion, they know that going to college is what they need to do, but they just don't have the resources that maybe you and I had, you know. For example, we had a student that graduated UCI with a bachelor's in engineering, and he saw our flyer at UCI, and he contacted us because he was housed through UCI while he was in college. But once he graduated, he was staying at the Student Services Center and at the park. So this is the reality that we just can't even fathom. I can't imagine my 19-year-old being homeless, right? So imagine these kids that are struggling. And then let me take it a little bit further. Here, there are a lot of elementary and middle schools and high schools here in Orange County. Now, have you heard of McKinney-Vento? Do you know what McKinney-Vento is?
I have not. No.
Okay, so there are two definitions of homelessness that are out there. Okay, one is the one defined by the housing authority, which is HUD, and that is that you're literally sleeping under the stars, or you're living in a place not meant for human habitation, like a car, for example. And then the other definition is McKinney-Vento. The McKinney-Vento Act is an act that was established federally to provide the support that youth that are in school who are homeless, and homelessness can be one like the HUD, or that they are maybe staying in a motel with their family because they just don't have enough money to make ends meet. Or we might have something like doubling or tripling up, which means, let's say, Greg, you have a family of 4 and I have a family of 5, but we have a regular job, not making more than the minimum, right? The state minimum. And we know that we're going to need to either live together and partner up and room in a 1-bedroom, or if not, we're going to be on the streets. So of course, a lot of families get together so that they can support each other. But again, it is very volatile, because all that needs to happen is that the car breaks down, or there's any any added cost, maybe one of their kids needs to go to the hospital, any added cost, and it immediately will put them on the streets. So that's
Completely,
where they're coming from.
completely understand. I mean, when you're living with a budget that tight and you do have an unexpected bill, and for them, I'm sure it's just devastating, and it's hard for them to rebound from that.
Yeah.
Personally, what do you do for Stand Up for Kids? What do you do?
So I'm the director of operations for StandUp for Kids, and I've been in stand-up for 4 years now. I started as an intern, and I just couldn't leave.
Well, that's as far as on locally, how do you provide for the kids? I mean, what do you do? Do you bring them out sack lunches? Or are you bringing them meal vouchers for something? I mean, how do you do it? What do you do?
So we have a very comprehensive program, and it's a mentoring program. So we understand that without the youth learning the skills and the pretty much the skills of the know-how to adult, they won't be able to do it on their own. So what we do is we meet with them on a weekly basis, and we mentor them, and we go through our different stages. We have stages laid out. The first stage, for example, focuses on the basic needs, right? So we are all about housing first. So if we find a youth that is on the streets and it meets the requirements to be in our program, automatically I will say within 24 hours that youth is housed and off the streets in a safe place. Okay, so that's kind of the number one. Go ahead.
No. When you say house, how do you find the housing? What do you do? I mean, are you going hotels or?
So we know that we cannot do it all. So we know that we need to rely on each other as a community. So we create partnerships with different organizations, other nonprofits, churches throughout the entire county, so that we have what we need to be able to provide the support. So for example, where they get housed is really based on where that individual is, right? Where that youth is. So let's say if the youth has any type of substance abuse challenges, right, and they're struggling, they need to stay clean, right? So what we do is we'll send them to detox, for example, and then we will place them in a sober living home that is vetted by StandUp for Kids. Like I said, we've been here since 2003, and we've been doing this for a minute here in the county, and we've been very active in creating partnerships. So that's kind of one of the venue. For example, for a youth that's in college, we are super excited because we just received an ESG grant. What does that mean? That's a federal grant where we can actually provide housing support to youth for 3 months. So that's additional support that we're receiving, and it's federal. So it just allows us to serve more youth. So that's one of the ways that we do it.
Oh, that's huge, getting a federal grant like that. I got to ask you one thing. Most of us here, we live in Orange County, and Orange County is kind of, we're a wealthy county. Do you find that people have a hard time understanding that we do still have homeless for kids out there? Because how can it be? I mean, you drive down the streets in Orange County, it's so beautiful and everything's picturesque. And, I find, somebody came up knocking for money, I'd be like, really? In Orange County, there's a problem there. Do you run into that at all?
So this is the thing with the youth that we serve, right? Our population. So if I asked you right now to close your eyes and just think about a homeless person, what picture comes up in your head?
Usually someone of the 40 to 60-year-old.
Yes.
Male.
Probably pushing a cart.
Yeah.
Probably dirty, right?
Right.
So that is not the case with our youth. Our youth are very resourceful, and they'll, for example, panhandle $10 and get a gym membership so they can take a shower. So to that level of resourcefulness, right? But unfortunately, it's just a vicious cycle, because although they're able to, panhandle for food, some of them, unfortunately, they are victims of human trafficking. We have a lot of youth that are runaways, other youth that just are discarded and just not wanted. We work a lot with foster youth as well. So you can imagine the challenges there. And so again, when you walk around Orange County and you look how affluent Orange County is, you would never think that there is a youth in need of food, that there is a youth in need of care and love and appreciation for just being them. So that is what we provide them. And just because you don't see them, like I said before, our youth look like my 19-year-old, like my 12-year-old. Okay, so it's just the way it's. We're blindsided. We're very strategic on how we find our youth. We identify partners that might have an outreach program that touches them. So we make sure that we're connected so that we can get those referrals in. And last year we served 400 youth. So that's definitely.
Oh, that's outstanding. Do you have any examples of the program's successes?
So we have an 85% success rate. Now, what does that mean, right? That means that from the time that we have our youth in our program to the time that they become, that they graduate our program, meaning they're stable and they have their own housing and they're paying for their own rent and they're sustaining themselves, right? Without our financial support, then we consider them graduates. And then they stay housed, 85% of them stay housed for 6 months or more.
Is there anything that we as Elks could help out with in a volunteer level?
Yes, but before we go there, I wanted to show a video. I think it would be very very impactful, so that you first know who we serve, right?
Okay.
So give you a
Okay.
depiction of who we serve, and then I can go ahead and go into that.
That sounds great.
Yeah, Carlia, you and I had a discussion off air this afternoon, and you were describing an incredible story in this lady that we're going to see here. Why don't you set up the video that we're going to see a little bit so we can really understand where this individual, who's not unlike most of the kids that come through your organization, what she went through. You know, we'll hear that story, but just kind of set up the story for us.
So I think it's a good time to introduce Justine Palmore. She's our executive director, and I think she would be able to explain a little bit more in depth about her story, because Justine was actually her mentor.
Oh, okay. Why don't we do that? We'll bring her on right now from the studio. There's Justine. I think you're still muted though, Justine.
Hi,
There we
how
go.
are you? Yep.
Welcome.
Thank
Justine
you for having me.
Justine is the executive director here in Orange County. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Carlia, why don't you take the lead and kind of explain to our viewership how you two interacted with this individual that we're going to see here in a second.
Absolutely. So Justine was her mentor. So Justine, go ahead and talk a little bit about Brittany without spoiling the story.
Yeah, it's hard to talk from before the story. So I met Brittany. She was 15 years old, and I met her through one of the other kids that I was mentoring. It seemed like I always got the rough ones. I met her in a hotel room. She was hanging out with all the wrong people, and she was just had no direction. And I think that's enough to lead into her story, because she tells it pretty good, and then I'll share where she is today.
My dad left when I was 5 years old. My parents split. He's a meth addict, and he's been in and out of jail my whole life. My mom was a single mom working multiple jobs. I changed schools a lot. I think I went to man, I've probably gone to like 11 different schools. I don't have too many memories of my dad except for him being violent and angry and coming home at random hours of the night. Me and my little brother kind of wondering what was going on. I started using drugs at about, 12 years old. I ended up becoming friends with, the bad kids in school or the drug addicts. I didn't play any sports or anything like that, so I didn't fit in with any other crowd, or at least that's how I felt. By 15, I was actively using heroin. I ended up homeless, living in my car, sleeping in Walmart parking lots. I got arrested for commercial burglary and possession of heroin. I was only 89 pounds and I had abscesses all over me. I mean, besides the physical stuff, I was just so emotionally drained that I didn't even know who I was anymore. And finally, after like 2 weeks, I called my mom and I said, I'm ready to do whatever I need to do. My mentor has taught me how to be an adult, how to be a mother, how to be a wife. I mean, the best that I can put it is that Stand Up for Kids is my family. Everything that a normal family would offer is what Stand Up for Kids offers to me. If I hadn't found Stand Up for Kids, I don't know if I would be dead or alive, but I would definitely still be using. I wouldn't have the leadership skills and the work ethic. I wouldn't know all that I know today and be able to do what I'm able to do today. No matter who you are or where you're from, you're always going to hit some kind of rough patch in your life, some kind of tough times, and I'm just grateful that Stand Up for Kids was there to embrace me and help me and, save me from my rough times. To anyone and everyone who has ever supported Stand Up for Kids in any way, from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
So I'll just share really quickly a little bit about Brittany, more than you heard. So I was her mentor. I held her hand through a lot of things, getting her GED, teaching her how to drive, drug addiction, marriage. I was at her wedding at City Hall, childbirth, pregnancy. Just I walked alongside of her from 15. She's now 6 years sober. She celebrated last week. No, it was 2 weeks ago. She celebrated 6 years sober, and she has a 3-year-old baby boy, and she's married. She lives in Mission Viejo. She worked for us. I taught her how to be a good employee. I gave her first internship opportunity, and then I hired her. She was actually an employee of Stand Up for Kids before I was. And she was our first employee for the chapter. She is an amazing young lady, very, very bright. She's self-taught in marketing. She fundraised right alongside of me. She could talk to donors. She could talk to the kids and mentor the kids. Just everything she put her hand on was golden. And so I'm really proud of her. She left about 2 years ago. Her brother started a business 3 years ago and very quickly made a lot of money. And he asked his mom to come work for him. And then he asked Brittany, and Brittany didn't want to leave. And she told him no. 6 months back and forth. He offered her so much money and that she couldn't refuse. She worked with him for about a year, and 8 months to a year. And then he set her up and gave her seed funding for her own skincare line. So she launched her own skincare line last January. She's the CEO of an e-commerce business. and she's doing really well. I couldn't be more proud of her. And so all of our kids don't have a crazy story like Brittany, but these kids just need a little bit of chance and a lot of love, and see how they can blossom.
That is an incredible story. I watched that offline, and it was so heartbreaking, but so touching to hear such a great success story. And that's a compliment to what you guys are providing over there, and how you treat every individual that comes through Stand Up for Kids. So we applaud you.
I thought it was fantastic. It's very inspirational to see the hard work that you guys put in, and actually you can see the results right in front of you. I think that is inspirational to all of us that volunteer for charitable causes. So to both of you, congratulations on a job well done. Very, very nice.
We have a lot of comments coming in. I didn't call them out, but I was bringing them up as they were coming about. And Tanisha says, so proud to Stand Up for Kids. Thank you all for all that you do. So I think that resonates with everyone who's watching this live stream and all of Elkdom. So again, congratulations, and we're grateful to have you.
And just to add also, Carlia, and you're a member of the Elks Lodge, and so don't hesitate to ask what we can do with our 1,200 members behind you, what we can do to help you out.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I think you mentioned this earlier before that this might have been, I think this was last year, the Elks did actually contribute some funding, right, to the organization. Yes. Here's let me just bring this up real quick. There's a picture of Tanisha and Jamie.
Shout out
and
to my girl, Tanisha.
Yeah, Justine and you, Carlia. That's awesome. $2,500 to the kids from ENF. That was an awesome contribution. So
very grateful for that. Very grateful for that.
Yeah, you let us know. I know. Let me just take a look at the comments here. I know a little bit ago. Let's see. Patrick had asked. Oh no, that's not the right one. Oops, not that one. It's moving on me. Hold on. Patrick Gherkin had asked, how can we help? So we as Elks, obviously we can help as far as awareness, funding, but how can individual Elks help with the organization?
Well, let me explain a little bit to you how, because now with COVID, the way you could help before totally changed to what you can do now, right? Because of the situation that we're in, because of the coronavirus. So originally, when it comes to volunteering, if you wanted to volunteer for, the minimum is an hour and a half. If you can volunteer for an hour and a half within your time, you could provide mentoring support. Now, it is so crazy. We have people from Boston volunteering virtually for e-tutoring. So like I told you before, we serve 12 to 24, right? And so you saw Brittany's stories, and that's, the young adult population that we serve, but we also serve underage youth. And so we work out of a center, an Anaheim center, and we have over 70 youth there that we serve 3 times a week on an after-school program. And they're making events. So the definition that I said, that's they are considered homeless. And so as we work with them, we realized with the coronavirus, we had to shut down everything. Everything was closing. The center closed on us. So we had to quickly figure out, how are we going to continue to provide support to our youth? So thankfully, thanks to Zoom, thanks to Skype, thanks to all of this technology that we have today, we were able to maintain that mentorship. And with the little ones, we were able to provide support virtually with e-tutoring. So right now we have volunteers coming online and meeting our youth throughout the days, 3 days a week for each of our youth to provide them with tutoring. And right now with distance learning and me having, a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old, it has been a struggle. And I speak the language and I understand, right, math and all that stuff, right? So imagine the parents that are single mom trying to put food on the table, and you have 3 kids that are going through this distance learning process where you cannot answer one question. I've heard of schools that are not even providing a one-on-one with the students virtually. So how is that support? So we came up and we said, you know what, we need to step it up, and we need to provide more services, especially with this coronavirus when we cannot connect face to face like we did at the center, for example. So now, as you said, Greg, everything is going to start, slowly but surely opening up, and we're going to walk into our new normal, right? And so when that happens, this just added to the level of services. So this pandemic just added additional layers of services for our youth. So we're super thrilled. So that's a way that if you're looking to make an impact in somebody's life through tutoring and through providing them with that support that they do not have right now for our kids in need, then please, that's one of the ways. You can e-tutor, you can e-mentor, right? And again, that's for the e-tutoring is 1.5 hours a week. That's on the old commitment. There are other ways that you can also help, right? We're blessed that we started with a food pantry, and it's crazy because, Justine, when did we get that food pantry from MAPS?
We moved in our new location on February 23rd, and then on March 16th, we closed our offices. So we had just started that week. Our first order of food came in.
So think about that. So what timing? We've never had a food pantry, ever, ever, ever. And all of a sudden, when we get those blessings, suddenly oh my God, the pantry, if you look at our pantry, is packed, and we do food delivery too, which is fun. We call it the We Deliver program. And so we make sure that our youth and the youth, that the little ones and their families, right, we try to provide that support, that food support. And so we have volunteers right now. That's another thing that if you're interested and you want to get out of the house real quick without touching anybody, you can go ahead and do some food delivery, and it's really easy. You go to Costa Mesa to our offices, you grab the bag of groceries, and you literally deliver it to the front door of the house at the youth, where the youth is staying at that time.
You mentioned earlier that you have volunteers in the Orange County branch here, all the way out from the East Coast. Who are those people? What are their professions, and how did they find you guys?
Justine, you want to take that one? How do we have people from all over the country e-tutoring our kids?
So, well, because of our partnerships, we have had an enormous collaborative effort across the county. And so United Way, we're part of the Homeless United, and we're part of 10C, and we're part of a couple of other collaborative groups, and they are posting ads for us. Yep. So, we're part of Trellis in Costa Mesa, and they're a collaborative of 27 churches. And so each place has ads for us, and we're still getting people every single day. I think Carlia and I trained at about 100 and maybe 110 people over the last 4 weeks.
Yep.
Wow.
Normally we used to do training once a month.
Yeah.
And we got like 12 people was a good training, right? Oh my Lord. We've had to do virtual training every week to keep up. It is lovely. I love having that issue. So yeah, So it's 2 hours of your time of your morning to hang out with Justine and I and get some information on an orientation on Stand Up for Kids and the next steps. So that's definitely crazy how all of a sudden you're talking to people and they're like, oh yeah, I'm in Boston. And I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
what? What do you mean you're in Boston? And you're tutoring a youth in Orange County? How amazing is that? I think that is a beautiful thing. It has opened the doors so much for us to reach more youth and more volunteers that really want to serve, but they just don't have the time.
Yeah. Well, we have a couple of questions that have come in on how they can people can participate. Marcy Urquhart is asking, can we donate clothing, cosmetics, and other types of goods?
Because of the current situation, we are not receiving clothing donations, right? Because of the coronavirus. Normally we would, but not at this time. Not at this time. Anything that has to do with, again, it's just clothing. We want to make sure that we're protecting everybody, right? So not at this time. But when we go back to our new normal, yes.
Yeah.
And makeup, of course, makeup as long as it's new, right? So not used makeup, but yeah, of course. I mean, we have, you know, we one of the things that we also help is with grooming and getting ready for that interview and haircuts and all that. So makeup for females would be definitely good. Yeah, for sure.
Is there a need, or do you have the need for volunteers to help with food deliveries? Patrick is asking.
Yes, we do have a need for volunteers for food delivery. Yes.
Okay. And his follow-up question here is, can we get the address or the details for delivery? So I think he's asking how to do it, or who should he connect with?
So first of all, it would be with us with StandUp, and I believe, Rick, you have some numbers to put up at some point, so you'll be able to connect with us if you want to become a volunteer. Now, regardless of what role you take within the organization, there's a few steps that need to happen before you can start delivering even, okay? Because we work with our youth, we make sure that we background check all of our volunteers. So that's very important. We will have to make sure that all of our volunteers go through orientation, which is 2 hours. There's an $18 processing fee for the background check. So that's a donation that would go with that. If you're looking at just delivering food, then that is the extent of becoming a volunteer. Once you pass that background check and you've submitted the documents to do so, we're good to go. And you'll be included and looped in with our manager of mentoring programs to go ahead and schedule those. Some of our youth receive bi-weekly deliveries, others receive weekly deliveries, depends on the need.
Right. And they're okay with the contact information here we have on the screen. Is that a good contact?
That is perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'll also put this in the post on Facebook and YouTube, so you have the physical copy that you can copy and paste if you need to. Well, that's awesome. That is incredibly awesome. Now you had.
I almost forgot. There's something that I do as well, and Justine does too, and I think everybody, all of our staff, does that, which I think it's very unique. We are all monthly donors to Stand Up for Kids, so that's a kind of a great way to give and to serve our youth when you don't have time, or you don't have, I don't have $1,000 to give, right? So I can't do that, but I can most definitely donate every month. I love going to Starbucks, for example, right? So instead of going to Starbucks that often, I send it to Stand Up, because again, I see where the money goes, right?
So can they do that online? Is that an easy way to do that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So you can go to their website at standupforkids.org, correct?
So Justine, can you send through the private chat the link? And she'll just put it there for you, Rick, and then you can just push it out.
Yeah, then I'll post it at the end.
Yeah.
We have, let's see, Nina McCann would love to volunteer.
Yay.
help with interview coaching. So Nina, why don't you reach out to Carlia? If you don't have her information, you probably have her private information. You can probably get it from Greg.
It's on the the little newsletter that we get from you. We're all there, right?
Oh yeah,
The Elks? Yeah. Just reach out to me.
Very good.
Definitely get you linked up.
Awesomeness. Okay, I think I'm caught up on all the comments. If there's anything else, Greg, from you that you want to ask of Carlia and Justine before we excuse them from the broadcast, we'll wrap up then shortly, just you and I, and take it from there. So, anything else?
No, I just want to again congratulate both of you for just an outstanding job here in Orange County, and as you know, fellow Elks that we are, to see other people volunteer outside of even Elkdom, it's just fantastic. So great job, you guys. Seriously.
Thank you.
Yes, and I have to resonate those congratulations as well. It was a pleasure doing the off-camera interview with you, just kind of learn a little bit more about the organization that you're involved with. It's an incredible organization, and I know a lot of Elks that are either watching live or will be watching this broadcast will be very interested in knowing how they can help out. So we'll make sure to have that. And folks, even though you're not on here live and you may stumble on this replay, go ahead and share this to your Facebook page or through the links that got you here, and watch the broadcast. It's fascinating and great news. And let's share it with the community. And we have a final applause here from John Fights. Thank you very much. And I want to thank everyone. Yeah, John. So with that, I think we're going to let Carlia and Justine go. If there's anything else from you, let us know. And in the meantime, thank you again very much from the bottom of our hearts. And let us know how we can help.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.
Good evening. Bye.
Night.
All right. Good night, guys.
All right. Wow. That was incredible. That was awesome. Any closing thoughts there, big guy?
No, I don't know. I think it went pretty well for our first podcast. How many attendees did we have?
At any given time, we had about 34. Half coming from Facebook, half coming from YouTube. So kind of a split up thing. I know for future episodes, we still, folks, we're working on the next guest that we're going to have on board. So unfortunately, we don't have that announcement that we can make today, but we will be back on the broadcast next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel. And we'll make probably a midweek or later in the week announcement on who the next guest will be. So stick to the Facebook page. We'll send out an email as well. And I know, maybe not in this one, but I know that you've been dying to tease them with some information. Is there anything you can kind of share with us right now about the happenings at the lodge?
I think Russell Sint has volunteered to be Elroy the Elk. No, that wasn't it. That wasn't it at all. Although he'd be a good Elroy, wouldn't he? Have him come in.
He would.
No, a lot of us that are probably already on this broadcast are aware because they've been volunteering down at the lodge to do some cosmetic upgrades for it. And are we doing that next Tuesday or following? What are we doing?
I think in 2 weeks, because there's some,
2 weeks,
still some final. Yeah. So next week we're going to have one more guest, and the following week we will attempt to broadcast from the lodge and do a live camera walk around as well. So
and to show that it's just been amazing. And I know that because we're all kind of stuck at home, that it's actually nice to get out. But these are still people that are coming down, that are working, that they're bringing their laptops and donating their time. And when they have to go take a business call, they run off, take their business call, get on their laptop, and then come back to volunteering. So all the work that is being done inside, which is quite frankly a major change and an upgrade. and we're excited to show you in a couple weeks. But it didn't come from we have a contractor, but he is a member, a general contractor. He's a member, and he's donating his time, and we're 20 to 25 of his little helpers that just go off what he tells us to do, and we're also pretty decent at demolition. So with those major changes coming, I think everyone, once we get back to our elk family, it's going to be a pleasant surprise. And in a couple of weeks, we'll do the big reveal on our show here.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you very much, Greg, Exalted Ruler Greg, and I think we are very much looking forward to the next episode. So I'm going to rely on you to have an just as exciting guest on the episode, on the broadcast for next week. So, all right. So with that, everyone, thank you for joining the broadcast tonight. We will see you again next week, next Tuesday on, what is it, the 12th of May at 7 p.m. Thanks, guys. We'll see you again.